All right, so up next we had Rusev and Lana. They come out, and Lana just talked about how Vladimir Putin's proud of them and kind of blabbers on about that. And then Mark Henry's music hits. He comes out, fans start chanting USA, and he says something about how that's American pride, and he's representing the U.S. in the Olympics, and he's seeing the Russian flag raised made him sick, and he doesn't want to, or he doesn't agree that America's power is gone, and that he's going to give Rusev a personal guided tour into the Hall of Pain. And then he drops the mic, and they go face to face, and then Rusev tries to hit Henry, and Henry blocks something. I think he blocked a super kick, and he hit the world's strongest slam.
Very interesting that Henry answered the call, because, he's been doing his stuff with Big Show. And it's funny, Ashton, because I did think Rusev was either going to collide with Big Show or Mark Henry at some point. Specifically at this particular point in time, what I was investing all my money in was him doing the program with Sheamus for the U.S. title.
Right.
That, of course, didn't happen. And I'll admit, I had my sour grapes about that as well. But you know what? I thought, that's got to come eventually to me. I do think, I'm convinced a Rusev-Sheamus program is happening. But if they want Rusev to go through Mark Henry to show, he could very easily beat Sheamus, I'm cool with it. Because it's all about that credibility, especially when you're dealing with a guy like that. So they have a little tussle in the ring there. It doesn't really amount to much. Rusev maybe gets a couple right hands, goes for a kick, but it's still with the bad leg, which, again, kudos to Rusev for remembering to sell it and carrying things over, because Henry blocks it. He's still feeling the pain from it. Henry picks him up and with ease nails a world's strongest slam. And I felt like Lana's emoting during this night was just absolutely excellent.
Yeah, dude, she looked horrified.
She did. She's like, my monster, my beautiful monster. And just thinking, oh, wow, he is breakable. He is beatable. Yep. And, it's funny because Swagger, I think, was a legitimate threat in the sense that, he was able to get the Patriot lock and this and that, able to counter Rusev and find a way around that maneuver. But Henry is just a legitimate threat and look at him. I don't even need to go into any kind of verbal explanation. Like, Rusev is always billed as this behemoth, this tower of humanity, and then Henry comes along and he's like, you ain't nothing special. And, there you go.
I'm excited to see this happen.
Me too. Again, I quickly got over my sour grapes about it because you know what? I'm thinking, the more bricks you lay down for his foundation of credibility, pertaining to Rusev, I think the better off he's going to be in the long run. If he didn't get a championship match after beating a guy like Henry, then I'll really be stupefied and thinking what's going on. But Henry, I think, is the best roadblock you could possibly produce. Maybe Big Show would be a few steps up there, but I really love what Henry can do when he's angry and he's into it. So I'm excited.
Yeah. All right, so up next was our main event of the evening, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and we find out that the winner of the poll is Falls Count Anywhere, which is what I was hoping for. Although, as it turns out, it didn't actually matter because at the end of the day, Falls Count Anywhere, no DQ, no holds barred. None of them really got used, and by that I mean the differences between the three didn't get used. Basically, it didn't matter which of those three matches got picked. It would have been the exact same match no matter what, because the most basic of those three is no holds barred, in which case you can still get disqualified, but you can't get disqualified for using like a choke hold or like I don't even know what the heck else there could possibly be. Closed fists, I guess. I don't know. Like, there aren't that many banned holds in the WWE that we know of. But then no disqualification means you literally can't get disqualified. But pinfalls still have to happen in the ring. And then the whole Falls Count Anywhere thing is the same as the no DQ, but then you can have pinfalls take place outside of the ring. That's the difference between the three, and the only reason that I went into that is because I saw a lot of people on Reddit asking what the difference was between the three. There you go. But yeah, I kind of feel like it didn't matter which of those matches got picked because none of them got used. First of all, there was no pinfall, so Falls Count Anywhere didn't even matter. And second of all, neither one of these guys has any holds that's banned, so Falls Count Anywhere or no holds barred wouldn't have mattered. And third of all three of these matches have the whole you can't really get... Although, yeah, I guess they did, because if it would have been no holds barred, then they probably would have been disqualified for using chairs then, wouldn't they?
I don't think they would have. See, that's the
No?
thing. I've seen no holds barred matches where, the weapons and stuff apparently
Okay,
are
so
still
then
legal.
yeah, so that did then. Well, I mean, if that's the case, then there's literally no difference between no holds barred and no DQ in WWE.
Yeah, pretty much to me.
Because to me, when you think no holds barred, that should mean you still have to beat each other with no weapons, but you're allowed to use any kind of hold, even if it's technically banned, because all holds go. No holds are barred.
Right. I mean, that would be the logical thing, but I have seen, no holds barred matches where weapons still get introduced. It's funny that you went into the explanation, because I was going to open this up actually by asking you to just give your thoughts on this match, and I still would like to, because I feel like I've been doing majority of the talking on the match tonight, especially for this match, considering that it's Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. How did you think about how these two work together in this match?
Oh, it was awesome. The fact that Dean Ambrose gets such a huge reaction when he does something relatively unpredictable or even just a little over the top, like something as simple as throwing like 5 chairs into the ring rather than just one. It doesn't actually mean anything. Like, you can't use 5 chairs at the same time unless you just kind of spread them out on the ground and hope to connect with one of them when you do a move. But because he's doing that extra step to make it seem like he's just not had enough and just like he's just 100% done with Rollins and everything about him, I love it because he gets this huge reaction, and it's just because he's doing something a little bit less than sensical. And then the match's finish was awesome because it accomplishes 3 things. First of all, everybody hates Kane again, whereas 2 weeks ago people were kind of like, meh, whatever, it's Kane, who cares? And now everyone hates him again. Second of all, it makes Dean Ambrose look like a complete badass because he got his head stomped into cinder blocks. And third of all, it writes Dean off TV for a while so he can go film this new movie that he's going to be in. It's perfect.
And just to tack something on, because I agree with all of your bullet points, to the letter. I think you were absolutely spot on. But not just the movie, it definitely gives it that feel that this feud is elevated in terms of how personal it is. And it makes Seth Rollins look that much more of a heel, because as you said, Ash, and I got to give you total credit for this, the Dean Ambrose return pop, though, will be ridiculous when he reemerges. And let me just say this, because this match was crazy. It was amazing. And I really, to even go into it, I would just say, for those who didn't see it, go and check it out. If you missed it, maybe you had an obligation. Maybe you were in the bathroom too long. I don't know. For those who didn't see it, check it out because they went nuts. I mean, everything they did. I think this was the match that everybody said that these two were capable of on the main stage, and I don't even feel like that was their best. I feel like it was their best effort to date, but I mean, let's think about what they've been given. The first match didn't even happen because it was just a bunch of segments of them beating each other up at Battleground. And then the Lumberjack match, I mean, fine, they did great, no doubt about that, but they didn't have the kind of environment where they could just unleash everything. And I still feel like even with a Falls Count Anywhere, they had a bigger playroom, but still, like, I don't think they gave that 100%, which leads me to my biggest point personally. I think that they are going to have a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell.
Yep. I think that Ambrose is, I originally thought, well, this might just mean that Ambrose isn't even going to show up at the Night of Champions pay-per-view. But after really thinking about it, I think that he might just return at the Night of Champions pay-per-view to screw Seth Rollins over when maybe, possibly, if he really garners a lot of balls, Rollins tries to cash in.
Yeah. See, if John Cena was still the champion, that's exactly what I think would happen. That Cena?
But it is the Beast, so it's kind of hard to say.
But maybe Cena loses his rematch, and then because he even said leading up to SummerSlam that we were going to see a John Cena that he's not personally proud of. Well, yeah, I guess so. We saw Cena get utterly dominated and almost outright squashed. But then maybe after he just unleashes all of his frustrations, I mean, chair shots, whatever, and then an AA, then maybe Seth does have the balls, and then Dean Ambrose emerges, and the crowd goes nuts because we have all these different bodies in the ring at the same time. And yeah, I think these two, their feud has become personal enough and worthwhile enough to warrant a Hell in a Cell match. And I think you even said, Ashton, that this will be the first Hell in a Cell match that they've had in quite some time where the use of the cell and just even having a cell match period actually makes sense. So it'll be great to get to that point with Ambrose and Rollins.
Yeah, dude, this is the program that I have enjoyed the most over the course of the last month or two.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This has been my favorite program as well because, again, I mean, our little mini rant discussion on Bray Wyatt, that says it all. I love the fact that Brock's our champion, but I don't even really know where they're going with that, so I'm kind of tentative with my investments. But, yeah, Dean and Seth have delivered consistently. I even said earlier in the night when we're talking about the Ice Bucket Challenge segment that Ambrose forcibly made Seth Rollins a part of. He's looking like one of the top baby faces. Seth, I feel like, garners great heat because people still haven't forgiven him for betraying the Shield. And they've just made it work. And this was a fantastic outing between the two of them. Kane, as you said, I think got great heat back for his involvement. And yeah, at first, when Rollins first committed the betrayal, I'm thinking, wow, could we even go as far as to say, like, two Shield mates locked inside the Hell in a Cell together? And now, of course, that would be Seth and Dean. And now, after tonight, I am convinced that we could go there, and I would 100% buy it. And I think everybody else would, too.
Yeah, I don't even know what to add to that because I don't really have words to describe how great this feud has been and can be and will be and just is. So if you're cool with just moving on, I'm cool with that as well.